Name of the Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. We give you praise. You may be seated. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Now, today we're talking about the making of a diamond. And we have heard some stuff so far. We have heard some things that cause us to think, that cause us to understand that the process is necessary. There are absolutely no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts to the making of a diamond. Now, just a little background information. Some of you would have seen some of it in our program, but just to let you know, diamonds originate from carbon. And I'm so glad Sister Sylvia showed us what carbon looks like last night. It looks like charcoal. It's black. Now, carbon is a chemical element. The word carbon is derived from the Latin word carbo, which means coal. So we all know what coal looks like. You all ever seen like a coal mine? Well, you put the stuff under the ground and you see the smoke that keeps rising up and it's making coal. Wood is turning into coal. But what does carbon look like? In one form, it's like the graphite in your pencil. So for those of you who, you started learning to write with pencil, it's that part, the pencil point. Right? The physical properties of carbon vary depending on the process. The two main forms of graphite and are diamond. Two main forms are graphite and diamond. Graphite is opaque and black, while diamond is highly transparent. In the making of a diamond, the raw materials belong to God. And when we look at Psalm 95 verses 3 to 5, it pretty much says, "For the Lord is a great God and a great King above all gods. In his hand are the deep places of the earth. The strength of the hills is his also. The sea is his, and he made it. And his hands formed the dry land." So basically, I wanted to get the understanding that the raw materials, the things that actually even make a diamond, we're talking about the sea, we're talking about the dry land, and we're seeing how awesome our God is. But he owns the materials. He owns that rough part that you can't see anything yet. Nothing has been formed that makes sense yet. But our God owns it all. That part of you that you think that is not important. The part of you that people cannot even appreciate. Some people tell me sometimes, "Diane, you're rough around the edges. You're rough around the edges." But I give God thanks because he's turning me into something precious. And we're coming to that. Now, the process involves pressure. Diamonds are formed in extremely high temperatures, under extremely high pressure. The only place on the earth those conditions are found is underground. When you hear underground, what comes to mind? Dark. Darkness. Unseen. You are in obscurity. Nobody not see where you're going to be yet, because you're still underground. You're still underground. And this is the part of you that, you yourself sometimes don't even understand. You don't understand when things get dark. I am so blessed by Sister Sylvia's testimony. She never asked for that. She didn't sign up for that dark part, because we're still being formed. We're still being made. And there are some things about our lives that we're not even proud of. But hey, it's a part of the process. The process involves pressure. All right, so it's formed in the underground. Carbon atoms then come together and slowly form crystals. So we're talking about the process here. Remember, I told you there is no shortcut. In our program, you see, I think it was Sister Rosita's address, when she talks about millions of years that it's there, right? And then it starts to form, it starts to turn into something good. Now, these crystals are then mined and processed to get the finished product. And I'm so glad that my co-speakers, they will be touching different aspects of the making of a diamond as well. So I wouldn't need to go too deeply in explaining certain things. But so it is that the Lord builds our lives in obscurity through much hardships. The process may be long, hard, and slow, but the product will be useful. Just because the pressure is hard doesn't mean that the end result is not going to look great. It's not going to be something useful, something that the Lord himself can use. So let's look at 1 Peter 4:12-13. We heard it earlier. And when you hear the Lord mention something twice, pay attention. It says, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice inasmuch as you are partakers of Christ's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy. That's the word of God. So think it not strange. Sister Sylvia, thank you. Because it means now that I have more time to move on to something else. You covered that so well. We have to understand that fiery trials are a part of the process. We cannot get away from it. There is no shortcut. You're going to hear me say that again and again until we get it. So let's talk about the product and the purpose. And this material is there, but in a little bit I'll come to something else. Now, diamond is the purest and hardest form of carbon. Diamond is also considered the hardest natural material on earth. After it has been processed and polished, it becomes a well-desired, sought-after gemstone. Gemstones are precious stones that possess beauty, durability, and rarity. So you hear that, ladies? You are precious, first of all, and you possess beauty. So don't bother with the people then when they tell you say you're ugly. I lie them I tell. There is no such thing as an ugly person. I know sometimes people go through, times of physical deformity. Different things happen to them in life, right? But there is something called inner beauty. And when you have that kind of beauty, it shines on the outside. So whether you have one hand, 1 foot, 1 eye, you understand? You are beautiful in the sight of the Lord. And you also have durability. What does that mean? Them a try kill you and them can't kill you. You understand? You last. And I would like to declare early on today that you shall outlive and outlast every single plan that the enemy has for you. You have durability. And then you are rare. Rarity. You're not common. There's a little saying that, there are friends. You have friends that are false friends. They are found everywhere. But when you find a real friend, they are rare. Rare. And that's speaking to even a diamond. It's rare. Listen, when you walk up into some of these jewelry stores and you see a sign said diamond, if you look around the store and everything else look like plastic and wood and so, walk away, because maybe there are some cheap diamonds. And if they tell you, if when you ask them the price, them tell you $1 or $2, run. That's not real. You understand? Because the real stuff is rare. The real stuff is not easily attained. So that is why, ladies, and we're going to come to that, you can't Lego yourself with anybody. You understand? You can't do that, and we're coming to that. So precious stones, they possess beauty, durability, and rarity. Diamonds are rare, so they don't come cheap. I tell you, if they tell you it's $1 for it, run. If the man come and say, I engage you, and it look like a popcorn ring, run. Alright? Because diamonds do not come cheap. You know how much partner money some people have to save up just to buy one little piece of rock? You understand? So ladies, I'm not saying that if the man cannot give you something big and whatever that you shouldn't know. That's not what I'm saying. But you don't come cheap, and you should be treated like royalty. Alright? And you are treated the way that you treat yourself. So if you not treat yourself, proper, don't expect anybody else to do it. Alright. So after we have endured that process, we become solid as a rock. Y'all have heard that, right? Solid as a rock. A diamond, that is. We become good for the master's use and for his service. That's our purpose. Our lives are precious to God. because we have been bought with a price. And then 1 Corinthians 6:20 declares, for you are bought with a price, therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. Now, that brings us to the end of the material that you have there. But this is what the Lord had me prepare now to share with us. And it's a little bit about my life, just a little bit about what is processing me, where the process is taking place, what has the Lord already done for me that causes me to understand that I am still a diamond in the rough. You know, it's a process. Well, first of all, I would like to declare that I'm thankful for my struggle, because without it, I wouldn't have stumbled across my strength. No, don't ask me who write that, but if you want to find out quickly who write it, just put my name to the bottom and you see how quick them come. Just ascribe it to Diane Lewis, and you'll see the real owner stand up and say, no, that's my stuff. All right, but I would like to share with you today, friends, that there is something unique about my life. Come on, say, it's so unique, right, that none of y'all here experienced it. Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. And that special thing about my life is I was born out of wedlock. Ta-da! I'm telling you, I told you it was unique. I told you it would blow your mind. I did tell you all that it's unique, you know. I guess I'm the only one in this room that was born out of wedlock. I guess I'm the only one in this room that has been disqualified at some point by life. I guess I'm the only one in this room who have experienced something so terrible that the Lord could never ever use me again. Do you feel that way? Well, actually, I was born in wedlock, but illegally. You see, my father was married, but not to my mother. And then me come and make the same mistake. Yes, me write it down. See it up on the paper. Yes, I can actually write in patois. In other words, my breed for I was impregnated. For a man that was in wedlock. All right? So this now speaks to disqualification. Yes. You understand? Yes. That terribly, man. Yes. How you could find yourself in a mess like that? How do you find yourself in a place that, no man, good people not do them something there? Yes. You can't recover from that. How can you? How could you? That was my story. Making the same mistake that my mother made. And honestly though, we never really know. Same did marry, didn't trick me. It's the truth. We don't never get tricked yet. Yes. Let me tell you something. Some man, they lie. Them lie. Yes. Them lie so yes. Why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because it happened about 2 weeks after joining the church choir. And I never joined another choir again. Lesson learned. Yes. Lesson learned. Stay away from choirs. You may get pregnant for the wrong people out of wedlock. You understand? Yes. That was my life. Never before did I feel disqualified from the work of the Lord as I did then. People are greet you, you know, and them look at your belly. How you do, sis? Wonder how far she reached. Yes. Because I had made up my mind that I wasn't gonna stop serving the Lord. It was the sin. It was that sex that was the sin, not my son. And somebody taught me that it was the sin of the sex, not my son. So I had to understand that, right? But it happened. Why I felt especially bad, it wasn't because church people were talking. That's expected. That's expected. But it happened on the heels of a healing from a near-death witchcraft attack. Now, after recovering miraculously from 6 months of hell, that's what I would describe that period to be like. It was 6 months of hell. This is how I thank God. So after the Lord has healed me from this, I almost died during that experience. And the Lord healed me. It was no doctor. No doctor could tell me what was wrong with me. No doctor could tell me at the age of 21 why I was crippled from my waist down, could not walk, and in a wheelchair. No doctor could tell me what was wrong with me. But the Lord healed me. And let me tell you, after I got healed, I started to forget. Because sometimes we do. Let's be real. You make God promises. God, I'll do this if you heal me. Lord, I'll do that if you heal me. The Lord heals you and then we forget. I forgot in such a terrible way that I basically started to let myself go. And I brought this clothespin to demonstrate something to you. I was hurting from a broken relationship. And I was like a clothespin. The first man that squeezed me, I opened up. Can I say that here? Is this the right conference? Let me see what this conference is about. Wrong conference. Y'all see this? Ladies, I just want to say something. For some of us who think that we have arrived, and you know, boy, that's her story, that's not mine. You can get so broken and get to a place that when a man smiles with you and then wink at you, he'll squeeze you and caress you and you do this. You not ask no question. You understand? Free of cost. But now I tell a lie, they got to a stage where they feel like charge, but my morals wouldn't allow it. What morals? What morals? No, you understand where I'm coming from. You can get to that point as a woman where you feel so like this situation is too difficult. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about church. I don't care about church people. I do not care. We can get there, friends, if we're not careful. But it is a part of the process. So one time, I was ready to do that, right? When we do not know our value, our true value, the devil will hand us sin on a platter, and we will think it's true love. We settle for the riffraff, the dregs, the leftovers, even people man.
Tell that.
All right? I mean, I understand if this is too much for some of you. I get it. I understand. Maybe next year I won't be on the program, so you don't have to worry about it, but I'm on it now. All right, so we settle. We settle. We become loose. We just let ourselves go. Anything goes. Anything goes. But I give God thanks that He kept me healthy. And I'll just leave it at that, right? Know your worth. I am here today to remind us, friends, that it's not how we start, it's how we finish. And I give God thanks for my pastor because he said something recently in one of his messages. Failure is not final. Failure is not final. So just to share a little more and say to you today that to date, today our 21st of September. To date, I have survived molestation. Now that opened the door to promiscuity. Now promiscuity, my friends, I don't call that process. That is promiscuity. Right? It is what it is. Open the door to fornication. Right? What's that? All kind of sex outside of marriage. It opened the door to masturbation. Because there was a time when I thought I had a problem. If you understand what I mean. I had an issue and it was covered. You understand? Hello, all of this while in a church. Y'all get where I'm coming from? All right. Then the masturbation followed me into my marriage. Some people say, I'm single, it's harmless, I'm not sleeping with anybody, I don't see how this could be wrong, but the Lord had already started to work on my heart. And he said, listen, that verse, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are honest, just, true, all of that, think on these things. And I'm telling you, when you masturbate, you can't think on those things. I'm sorry. Okay? So something is wrong. Something is wrong. Also, I survived mild, I call it mild, alcoholism. Bailey's rum cream was my drink of choice. It was addictive. I worked at a place where, when I was off duty, I worked at a hotel as a kids entertainment coordinator. So in the day, I worked with children. The latest shift would go to about 10 o'clock in the night. Then the disco opened. And I would go into the disco because I lived on the hotel's premises. I was from Kingston, still from Kingston. But the hotel was on the north coast of Jamaica. So living on the premises, when the work was finished, I had access to the facilities. I would go to the disco and I would call for my Bailey's rum cream. And I would just sit in a little corner and rock to the music. You understand? And have my drink. It became addictive to the point where I never really got drunk, but I remember becoming tipsy. Tipsy basically mean we never really start talk foolishness and talk people business, but I didn't feel myself. I started to waver a bit. And I realized that something was taking over my life. To date, I have survived clubbing, getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, I got a club. The things that are happening now in the world, you don't even, listen, the devil will push you to a point where you do things that shock even the devil. Some of us act sometimes like we're trying to overthrow the devil. We're trying to take Satan's spot when we should be telling him, Satan, hold your position. Hold your position. So I have survived that, the clubbing, going to the club, dressed in my bottom rider. I'm not going to say the other one. And in the club, there was a group of us that when we came in, the dance floor just parked so. Them say, give the Boscobel crew way, give them way, give them way, give them way. Alright? I'm in a club, I dance for my head. Alright, don't even let your mind go there. Do not even let your mind go there. But I've also survived a witchcraft attack, as mentioned before, which had me paralyzed and in a wheelchair. I've experienced extreme weight loss as a result of that. I wasn't eating. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't able to function properly. My speech became slurred and I was a wreck during that time. I was suffering from a lot of things that the doctor can't find it in the blood. You understand? All the tests, I became like a lab rat. Every clinic in the BVI has a file for me. Alright? Broken relationships. All of these things over the years. Pressure. The pressures of life. Alright? The shame and scourge and stigma of being pregnant out of wedlock. I survived that. I survived church hurt and spiritual abuse. Some things we don't want to talk about, but I've been there. Thanks be to God, He has delivered me. He has delivered me. He has delivered me. I've been slandered, being taken for granted, and so many more carbon and coal circumstances and situations. The black things, the underground things, the taboo things, the things that we don't talk about, the things that affect our daily lives, that we just don't get an avenue to say, this is what is affecting my life. So I survived all of that. But through it all, the process has been good for me. Because I never went through the struggles. If I didn't do that, I would never have known that I needed a savior. Yes. You know that you can be sitting in church and lost? Yes. All right, hold on. The place just suddenly went a little quiet. Do you know that you can be sitting in the middle of church? Church as we know it. Well, we know we are the church, you know. But let me say, when we gather, and you can be lost. Pastor preaching salvation, righteousness, holiness, and your mind upon the man. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You just came off the choir, the praise team, the music, whatever, and your mind gone. It's not where it's supposed to be. You can be there. So I'm saying, going through all of this, help me to understand. Say, Diane, you can't live so. You cannot live like this. Something had to change. But now I can say that if I didn't get sick, I wouldn't have known God as healer. Yes. He's my Jehovah Rapha. Yes. If I never experienced the broken relationships, I wouldn't have known Christ as a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Yes. Sometimes you have some friend, you have them tight. Breeze can't pass through. But make you and them vex, them tell the whole world, everything we tell them. That is why I live my life transparently and openly. I do not allow the devil to blackmail me with nothing. Me, I tell it first. The power of sin is in the secrecy of it. When you say that, I don't have anybody to tell what's going on with me, so let me keep it to myself, big mistake. Even if them don't tell it, remember you're done, confess it. You know that the Lord has forgiven you. Do not let the devil blackmail you. It doesn't matter what it is. Some of the things, yes, it sounds bad, it sounds terrible. Some people have reputations that they're trying to protect. There is nothing like you walking with your head up so, and them are susu about what them think them know about your business. And sometimes are true. Sometimes we get vexed when people are talking about our business, because you know we say, well, mind your own business. I get it. But sometimes what they must say are true. What you gonna do? What you gonna do about it? Confess it. Turn it over to God. Do not let the devil use it as a stumbling block for your life. It cannot work like that. Alright? So I found out that Christ was the friend that stood with me closer than a brother or a sister. Now I've been married for almost 18 years, and trust me, nothing no sweet so. Now the thing looks so. And you would ask me, Diane, but what is the difference? This one cleaner. Duh. Even Gracie would know that. Thank God she's not of age yet. Trust me. In the intimacy, in the right context, in the context of marriage, in the context of you allowing God to clean up your mess. Because some people believe that, okay, well, I did it all, I have so many children, nobody wants me, I'm still single, nobody wants me. The devil is a liar. My grandparents used to say, every oar of them tick a bush. That means that the Lord has the perfect person for you, who will take you and you pick them up. You and you come along them, they will pick you up. And I give God thanks for my husband, because he took my son as his own. He adopted him. I always heard about our adoption in Christ. I never understood that concept until my husband adopted my son. I'll tell you why. I tried to get a passport for here for my son. Them say, you have to bring this, that. The only thing them never ask for is a vial of blood. Seriously. I mean, the rules are what they are. And you're not going to try and circumvent anything. You know, I didn't call any friend or try to pull any ranks or try to beg any favors. I said, okay, if that's what it is what it is. And then my husband, he's like, but we did say that we would move through with that adoption. Can you imagine you adopt your own pitney? My name upon the adoption paper. as mother. I mean, have him, I feel my son. But because of my husband and I, we're married, both names had to go on the paperwork. And let me tell you, a process that should have taken months, going through social development, you know, for those who have been through that, it happened in a day. This is how it really happened. I called around several law firms, including the one I worked at. Listen, some law firms are expensive, right? Even if you used to work there, you still can't pay them. They actually suggested that I call somebody else. I'm so serious. So I called this particular lawyer, and she said, yes, Diane, I can help you, but it's going to take a while. It's a process. Give the process at least 8 months. So I went to see her with my consultation fee in hand, and we have a lawyer friend here. Well, a good thing, if she did there, she'd have to do it free. Tie aisle. But I'm saying, I went, got the paperwork done, and working in a law firm myself, I knew exactly, you know, how to work the courts in terms of getting stuff filed and so on. So I got the paper done, and the lawyer said, I am going to, and I want to share this because it will help somebody. The lawyer said, I will let my messenger take it up to the court's office to get the filing done and all of that, and then we will be granted some date down the road. I said to her, I can take the papers because I understand the process. She said, you will? She said, I said, sure. She said, okay, and when they have finished the filing, then they would just put it in our dip and the messenger will pick it up. Okay, so okay, fine. When I got to the court's office, the lady there, she knew me, and she just looked at me and said, Diane, what date you want? Hello? What did you just say? Diane, what date do you want? I mean, the date to go in front of the judge? What do you mean, date? That not come now. She said, Diane, what date you want? I picked the earliest date. The earliest date was within days, okay? She filed the papers, left the stuff in the dip for my lawyer to pick up. The lawyer called me. She said, Diane, how come them set date already? I said, that's the favor of God. That's the favor of God. When the date came, the judge looked over the papers. The proceedings were held in what we call in chambers. It's not out in public, right? And she looked at my son, who was about 10 at the time, and she said, young man, are you ready for a name change today? And him with him like a shy self, well, you all know Jordan a shy now. Yes, miss, like him think of school him there talk to teacher. She said, okay, I've reviewed these papers, I've looked over this file, and I don't see any reason why I need to send this to social development. I will grant the adoption order today. Today. I got the papers, and I went back to the passport office. I'm not telling a lie. The lady looked on the order, and she looked it around, she looked through it. She must be wondering if it's real. But my son had his passport within days, because the process after that is not long, right? But he had it in days. But this is it. Before he was adopted, I had to do all sorts of rigmarole, jump through hoops. But the moment he took on my husband's name, it was like a door just swung wide open, wider than we could ever imagine. So I'm saying, friends, I share that to say this. Sometimes the process without Christ, and this is just for anybody who is here today who doesn't know Christ. Sometimes the process without Christ is difficult because we're trying to work it ourselves. We are trying to open our own doors. We are trying to pull ranks. Let me call my friend because my friend going to help me. But sometimes you hit rock bottom. You hit a roadblock. And there is no way. There is just no way around that until you become adopted by Christ. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It doesn't mean that the road becomes easier, but it becomes possible. And you learn to trust God through the process. You're going to hear this all day today. All right? So, been through that. Slandered. If I'd never been slandered, I wouldn't have known vindication. Vindication for me would have just been a big word that starts with V when it means nothing to me. But I've known the sweetness of vindication because I chose to release and let go and forgive. If I never experienced church hurt and forms of spiritual abuse, I would never be able to relate or even minister to the many who are going through the same. You understand? Never before in my life have I seen so many people that are going through different things that people may not understand. But ladies, I am here to remind us that through it all, we are still diamonds in the rough.
Yes.
We're diamonds, and we're coming out. We're coming out. Our stories may be different,
yes,
but our Savior is the same.
Yes.
It's the same God. Yes. The same God that take me up and clean me up.
Yes.
You understand? Yes. And put a microphone in my hand and say, tell your story. Yes. He can do it for you. It no matter how old you are, where you've been. Some people been down some roads, but not even me now go, I'm afraid, man, I go down there. I'm just saying, there are some people, my grandmother used to say this, if you think you have problems in life, put them on the clothesline of problems, and you see how quick somebody run, come take up your problem. Because it looks easier. You understand? So when you think you're going through, ladies, regardless of who you think you are, what you have achieved or not achieved, what you have done in life, what you have accomplished for yourself, you still have to understand that there's more to go. There is more. Sometimes we put people aside and we cast them out and we say, you see what you did? We finished with you. But I'm learning that this thing called process, it sometimes comes with pressure, but hey, when all is said and done, you're going to be a shiny, shiny diamond. Look at me. I'm just saying. And I'm $8 shoes, when I pay $4 for fix. Imagine, I buy my shoes for $8, you know. Buy my nice shoes, my comfortable shoes for $8. I said, I'm tired, take my picture tonight, but I don't care. And reach a Bahamas where they are good to me go before the storm. To God be the glory. Reach a Bahamas and my shoes start mash up. That was a sign. I'm going to one store and buy a crazy glue. $4 for the crazy glue. I said, but Diane, this makes sense. Why not dash for the boot? Dash for the shoes and go buy one next $8 one. Something said, take the $4 glue and fix your $8 shoes. Now my shoes value $12. So, that might sound simple, but I shared that to say that when you put your trust in a God, right, He adds value to your life. So even if you were seen to others as being cheap before, you know, you're not a body, them not count you. The moment, you ever see how Jesus pretty up some people when them get saved? Alright, Mr. Nobody not ugly, but that the jury's still out on that. But wait until them come to Christ. Wait until you have given your life to Christ. Let me tell you, it doesn't matter what kind of problem you have. Once you have given that over to Christ, they say, Him beautify the meek with salvation. Him pretty you up. And I never look so all the time, you know. We won't even go there. Soon, me have to get a travel wig, a church wig, you know, a wig for conference, a wig for beach. Yeah, the waterproof one we can take wet. When you come out of the water, you just splash it. I'm telling you, friends, when you allow the Lord to polish you and turn your story around, watch and see. You walk past some people now who never count you, and everybody want to be a friend. And you just wave. Just give them the queen wave. How y'all doing? Y'all doing fine? But I'm saying, allow the Lord to process you. That's basically what I'm saying. Everybody has a story. Everybody goes through something at some point. I mean, what Sister Sylvia shared about losing her husband after 30-something years, that cannot be easy. That cannot be easy. I mean, that is nerve-wracking. She wanted to kill herself, and I understand. I mean, sometimes we say, I would never do that. You haven't been there. Who feels it knows it. Let's be a little bit more empathetic. and compassionate towards what each other is going through. Sometimes we're quick to judge. Yes, sometimes we're one of them. I'm not gonna lie. True. How them fit do that? Forgetting say it happened to me. You understand? Let's be real, no man. Let's be real. When you hear what him do, you hear say so and so for prison. You hear what him up there for? You understand? Not knowing that it's but the grace of God. We are one step away from prison if we don't trust God. You understand? One step away. Some say, well, that's not my portion. Satan, I rebuke you. Listen, if you don't keep yourself rooted and grounded in God, you can end up in prison. And church people have to come up, they can look for you. You understand? So if somebody's going through, be compassionate. Be empathetic. You're either going in, what was it you said, Sister Sylvia? You're coming out or you're going in? You're either coming out or you're going in. None of us know what tomorrow holds. You understand? So let's help each other. Let's help to polish up each other. Sometimes we're tempted to do the pulling down and the tearing down. Yeah, man. Especially when them bother you. You know, them trouble you. And you feel like you just want to tell them something. And you have to ask the Lord to sanctify your mouth. Because you say you're a prayer warrior. And sweet and bitter can't flow out of the same fountain. And you say that you're a song service leader. And sweet and bitter can't flow out of the same fountain. You said that you are the praise and worship leader. The past, you understand, right? We have to ask the Lord to keep us. So any day, and I love my spiritual parents, Bishop, Pastor, Dr. David Bryan, and Sister Rosita. They have been teaching us, they have been mentoring us, they have been loving us. They taught me that every church are not the same. There is no perfect church, don't get me wrong. There is no perfect church. And he even said it. The moment you go there, it becomes imperfect. That's true. But I'm telling you, the type of love that I've experienced from these two people in the 3 years that they have been here, it's like overwhelming. I don't know how else to put it. It has been overwhelming. They have to put up with me, right? Then put up with me, because enough things I can't go on with them already, you know. Truth be told. You know, because sometimes we want to think that we're the best. You know, we're nice and, you know, we are okay. And how them to talk about me not guilty. Sometimes you're guilty. Like sin. No, serious. And you just have to humble yourself and say, Lord, forgive me. I was wrong. I was wrong. Father, forgive me. Because that's how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to grow. Don't think that every time somebody rub you. I tell her, the lady, she's nice, you know. This preacher here, she's nice. She said it's not that people rub you the wrong way. They're rubbing you the right way. Because there's something inside of you will have to come out. It has to come out. If the same people get the same reaction from you every single time, you're not growing. You're not maturing. You're not becoming that diamond that the Lord wants you to be. Alright? I have lots of friends in the church. And there are times when we don't agree. But we learn to discuss intensely. And we come back together. You understand? We fight. And that's why I love my church. People say, oh, she's just showing off every Sunday. She posts her picture them on Facebook. I love my church. I'm in love with you. Seriously. I love my church. I love the fellowship. I love it. And everybody can deal with a Diane, but you don't love me. You know, somehow you can't take me, but you still love me. And I love it. You understand? Let's be real. Let's be real with one another. Let's be real with God. Let's allow the Lord to process us. It's not everything is going to kill you. No, it not kill you. You have heard it more than enough today. So today, just in case you don't remember anything else I've said, just remember this. That the pressure that you're going through, it doesn't mean that you are not, something good is not going to come from it. Good things can come from pressure. Every time I look at my ring, it's not popcorn ring. Not only do I remember the past, but not in a hurtful way. You understand? It's in a good way. When I look at my ring now, You know, maybe them say, boy, Diane done, she not married and then she got picked out of wedlock or what that. No, the Lord, He can turn things around. He can make the coal, the black thing, sparkle. No, it's not blow away now, because this can't go outside. Don't blow away. Alright. This is for in here. Alright. So I'm saying, friends, just allow the Lord to process you. It's not cliche. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it again from Sister Karima, Sister Gabrielle, Sister Sylvia said it. You know, your respective pastors from the different churches that you have come from, they say it all the time. Don't run from everything, right? They talk about you, so what? Let them talk till them false teeth drop out, or them wig, or them weave till the glue wear out. They must stop. Go back in the presence of God. The devil is trying to isolate you. You understand? Let the Lord process you. And that's really my few words in Jesus' name.
So many times we hide behind masks. Like this, we need for another moment.